Start off Sunday morning. These showers in the far northwest will still be there first thing in the morning, but generally they will become fewer and further between as we head into the afternoon, and generally parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwestern England are likely to see some of the best sunshine throughout tomorrow. Perhaps more showers developing across northeastern England, and it's now here where we could see some low cloud around at times, maybe even some fog along some coastal regions of northeastern England. And again, the sunshine across parts of Wales, central southern England will be hazy tomorrow at times, so not wall-to-wall sunshine, but it will still be fairly bright and dry for the vast majority of us if you are wanting to head outside. Temperatures across Northern Ireland and Scotland generally similar to where we have been today, into the high teens or low 20s in places, quite pleasant. But towards the south we are starting to build in the heat and humidity, highs of 31 degrees Celsius in London. As we head into the new working week, it's probably a reversal of fortunes now, the cloud heading up towards more northern regions, a few showery outbreaks possible, and maybe even some showers and thunderstorms into the afternoon for parts of Wales and central England. But it's here where we have an amber extreme heat warning in place from Monday into Tuesday, with temperatures as we head throughout next week potentially climbing into the mid-30s at times. That is quite exceptional for June, with our highest temperature in June ever recorded of 35.6 degrees Celsius, so it's worth taking care as we head throughout next week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello from the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos, and it's the final week to see how you could win big in time for summer. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21. Just don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June.
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The GB News audience is different, it's unique, because they see through the nonsense.
We want to debate with each other, we want to listen and maybe learn.
We have a chat. That's what we do. We try and have a chat.
They'll watch my programme while they're eating their tea, they'll watch breakfast while they're busy getting their kids ready for school.
We want to hear what matters to you, what is news for you.
And what's brought you out here today?
What are the biggest issues affecting this particular area?
The audience are the best thing about GB News.
Their friends, their family. They're people who need to have their voices heard.
They're passionate about the channel, they're passionate about what they believe in.
The one thing about GB News is you get a chance to speak.
Talk to me about why so many people have gathered here today.
Do you want to say something back in return? The GB News audience is what makes GB News special.
It's incredible to see.
They shape our programmes, they shape our output, and they shape our channel.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good evening, it's 9 o'clock. I'm Alex Armstrong. Tonight...
Two streets, all streets! Two streets, all streets!
Areas like this can end up like HMO Britain. It's not fair.
More illegal migrants will be on your streets, quite literally. I'm going to reveal the astounding number that'll be moved into HMOs near you, possibly, plus a shocking exclusive story. And...
if there is a contest, just to be clear with you, then yes, I will run, I will stand, and I've said repeatedly, I'm not going to walk away from that.
Well, we'll see about that, won't we, Keir? A general election seems like it is almost inevitable for so many reasons, particularly that Andy Burnham is going to out his manifesto to the people. I'll tell you all why. Plus...
votes are for the public to cast, for those people they believe in. So nobody can split a vote.
Are we going to see more dirty battles like Makerfield in the future, with more right-on-right shots being fired? Did Makerfield set the bar? Also...
White van way.
And how critical was social media during this by-election? And a top pollster's also joining me to dig into all of the juicy details. And...
the question now is not whether we do something, we are going to act. I'm absolutely clear.
Well, the Prime Minister's being tough on social media, but as the 16 ban is coming soon, we hear, a young man who runs one of the most influential X accounts, GB Politics, you might know of it, well, he's going to tell me how he will be impacted because he is indeed under that age. And joining me on my panel tonight, former Conservative MP Louise Mensch, Reform UK MP for Romford, Andrew Rosendale, and former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards is here. And it seems like everyone has gone quackers for the World Cup.
No Scotland, no party. No Scotland, no party.
A snap general election is coming very soon.
You're joking. Not another one?
Oh yes, another one. Mark my words. Andy Burnham is, of course, now reportedly staging a coup against Keir Starmer and his own government's agenda. Burnham, who is set to steal the top job, didn't, of course, stand under the current Labour manifesto. He ripped it up and trashed the government's record during his own campaign, didn't he? Have a look here at his victory speech. Can you see any Labour branding? Many noticed a lack of the word Labour and, of course, Starmer in his campaign material too. Burnham actually won, didn't he, on an anti-Starmer, anti-Labour government platform. That is the reality. And now he's marching towards number 10 to oust the most unpopular Prime Minister in history. Well, if Burnham is coronated, which I think is very likely, and becomes Prime Minister, what authority will he have, though? How can he ask his own Labour MPs to walk through the division lobby to vote on policies that they weren't even elected on? What authority does he have with you, the public, to carry out his agenda? It would be nothing short of an authoritarian coup, would it? A Prime Minister and an agenda voted in by 0.03% of the British population. And let's be honest, he does need a mandate, a general election, given he is clearly going to rip things up and start again. But this might not be bad news for Labour. Hear me out, because I predict Burnham's going to see a nice honeymoon bounce because he simply isn't Keir Starmer. It's not going to last very long, though, in my opinion. Gordon Brown made the same mistake during his honeymoon period, and that led, inevitably, to his demise just a couple of years later. But why is this the right time for Andy Burnham to call a general election? Well, as you know, the right of British politics is currently in disarray. Restore Britain sucked up 8% of the vote in Makerfield. That is enough to stop Reform winning some of those key red wall marginal seats. And the Tories are down, but they are not out in their strongholds. And as we know, the left are great at holding their nose and voting tactically, something the right don't seem to want to do very much. So would Andy Burnham lose seats? Yes, he would. Of course he would. But he might just win enough and convince the Lib Dems to join him in a cosy coalition. And what will the price of a coalition with the Lib Dems be? Well, something both Burnham and Davey deeply desire. That is a referendum on the European Union. That will inevitably unite the left and, I think, destroy the Green Party. All of this would lead me to only one conclusion. Not only should Andy Burnham call a general election under the current conditions, but he must call a general election if he wants to have an ounce of authority as Prime Minister. Let's not forget how the public punished Rishi Sunak for failing to do the same thing. So brace yourselves, because I think this is going to be the reality, a general election by May next year. Do you get the thoughts of my panel? People who have been there, done that themselves. Former Conservative MP Louise Mensch is here, making her debut on the show. Good to see you, Louise. Thanks for joining me. Reform UK MP back again. Andrew Rosendale, good to see you. And former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards as well. Paul, I'm going to start with you. Hello.
Hello.
I do have an interesting thing here, which I want to talk to you about in a minute, which is a leaked document. A leaked document, so-called alleged leaked document from The Guardian here. This is Keir Starmer's Fight Back document. It's at least a page of it. But let me talk to you about calling an early election.
Yeah.
You were in the Brown government when they were considering, during Brown's honeymoon period, he just got into office, considering going to the public. He was on about 35%, I think, at the time.
Yeah. Well, we were marched as special advisors into one of the rooms just near the Cabinet Room in number 10 Downing Street, and we were told in no uncertain terms, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, download all your data onto memory sticks, hand in your passes, cancel or leave and get ready for a general election. And, of course, over that weekend, the view shifted inside number 10 and there was no general election. And then that was hung around Gordon Brown's neck for the next 2-3 years. So that is the calculus that Andy, if indeed it is going to be Andy, and that's not an assumption.
You're a bit sceptical about it, aren't you?
Well, I think, you know, you did a great job there, Mystic Alex, with predicting the future.
How many times have we been right before, Paul?
I think you
I've never asked you to come back and eat your hat before, but I might.
I was going to say, you say enough stuff, some of it's going to be right, isn't it?
What are you accusing me of?
But I would say it's not a done deal, and there is a legal disclaimer here.
Yeah.
There is no contest.
Yes.
We don't know who's going to stand. Starmer says he will. Can I get all of that out of the way now?
Are you reading from this?
Well,
this leaked document I've given you,
I think there is some truth in that, but I am happy to concede it's incredibly fluid over this weekend. I mean, tomorrow's papers, the Monday's papers, who knows what stories you'll be reading. And I think by this time next week, an awful lot will have shifted. So it is, you know, despite the disclaimer, I think we are in the zone now of a potential contest.
As, what is it, Harriet Harman, who Keir Starmer just brought back into as an advisor role.
Yes, exactly.
The stampede, the herd isn't just moving, it's stampeding.
It does feel like that. By the way, I've got the other 11 pages of this, if you want.
Oh, yeah, please send them over to me. That would be really helpful for tomorrow night, actually, Paul. Louise, welcome to the show. I'll come straight over to you on this one because, again, in similar circumstances, you were in the Conservative government. You were in the coalition government, or were you later on? I can't quite remember.
Coalition.
That's right, coalition, wasn't it? And Andy Burnham cozying up to the Lib Dems. They seem to flow with the wind at times. Nick Clegg with a little bit more right wing, a bit more cosy to the Tories at the time. But now they would not go with the Tories, I would assume, and they might find themselves at home with Labour.
Well, look, no fence left unsat. That is the motto of the Liberal Democrats, isn't it? They are always willing to go whichever way the wind will blow. And when they got into government, they really didn't know how to handle it because they've never been a party of government before. And that is the only way they're getting in, through coalitions. If Andy Burnham feels that he is going to continue to be Prime Minister as long as he goes into a coalition, he will do that. And let me say, as a Tory, that I wish that the parties of the right would be as pragmatic, because it's true that he won by a huge amount in Bakersfield.
Makerfield and Restore didn't actually stop Reform from winning. They really weren't that close. However, you cannot split the Conservative, small c Conservative vote in this country three ways.
No.
The first past the post system and still beat Labour, especially if they bring in the Lib Dems. If they're going to unite, why are we going to be fractured?
Yeah, and I think the Green Party vote is going to be destroyed. That's a whole piece in itself. I mean, I could sit here and give you a lot of reasons why I think the Greens are going to implode, which is great for Andy Burnham. And Andrew, of course, Reform UK now looking ahead from Makersfield, of course, not the result you were looking for.
Makerfield, people.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm calling it Makersfield.
I've no idea.
I've been telling everyone to stop calling it the last week. Now I'm saying it. Makerfield, thanks for the correction, Paul.
Quite right.
Obviously not the result you were looking for. Are you concerned about Andy Burnham becoming Prime Minister?
I'm concerned about this country. We are in a diabolical mess as a country. We need change and a radical new direction. The type of change we had in 1979 when Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister. There's only one party with the radical edge and the determination to rescue Britain, and that's Reform UK. So I say, let's have a general election, because I don't think the British people are going to vote Labour. I think people are crying out for a new government that's going to be a patriotic government, going to put this country first and deal with the mess that, I'm sad to say, 14 years and 5 Prime Ministers of the Conservative Party left us with Labour making it much worse. So I think, yes, let's have a general election, let the British people decide, because I actually think when the chips are down, most people know in their hearts that this country needs a new direction.
But you've just
parties offer nothing.
You've just tested that proposition, and millions of people, thousands of people got to vote, and you got tonked.
What, in Makerfield?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, Paul. This was a weird by-election where voting Labour was about getting rid of the Labour Prime Minister.
Well, you had a weird candidate. Let's face it, I mean, that wasn't good. But if he was your best guy...
Completely why Burnham won.
Go on.
Burnham won because they wanted Starmer out. Normally, they would have voted any other candidate, any normal by-election, that had been a Reform UK MP, as demonstrated only a few weeks ago when 50% of people in Makerfield voted for Reform.
But what about
it's about getting rid of
Scotland,
Starmer.
then? What about the two you lost in Scotland?
Well, very different situation. I mean, one was a solid SNP constituency. The other was oil and gas constituency, where all the Conservatives have shifted their position. The net zero nonsense has gone. Come on. And so people willing to vote for the Conservatives in that scenario.
Let me put this to you, Louise, because the Tories did well in Aberdeen South.
Yep.
But of course that has gone back and forth, SNP Tory for a while. I mean, I've lived up in Aberdeen, and I know the demographic of that area. Wealthy. It's a class situation, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. Aberdeen is a class situation. It's either you're going to not show up because you're happy with the oil and gas money that's coming in at the moment, don't bother voting. And in this case, it was a Conservative vote because they trust the Conservatives up there, and they're just not quite Reform in Scotland, are they?
No, I don't think they are. And it's interesting because Andrew is right to pump up his party and say they did very well in the council elections, but after that they got their lunch handed to them by a Labour candidate. And not only did they get their lunch handed to them in Scotland in 2 separate seats, but they also failed to win Gordon and Denton. At the moment, it's in danger of looking not quite professional enough, that they can win local seats, they can win council elections, no problem. But typically, council elections have often been a protest vote against the government, and I firmly admit against the Tories, we lost massively. However, the general election is different. The mindset of the people voting in the election, in my opinion, is different. And Kemi Badenoch is really well liked and respected across the political spectrum. She's also a grown-up, and one thing I think that Reform doesn't do is it has good proposals, and quite often you see the Tories and Reform having a little spat over who thought of which proposal first.
Which I think is a credit to the right, and this is what I kind of want to talk about here, because I do think this general election will test the right more so than it will test the left. And I think this has got to be the reality check. The right cannot win on a split three-way vote. It's implausible. In fact, actually, what's kept the right in power for so long is that the left-wing vote has been split by multiple ways. Lib Dem, Green, many other SDP before, and all these others. Yeah. That's kept the left out of power, but it's returned the right multiple victories, successive victories. Andrew, can you see a situation? Let's say if Andy Burnham comes back. Let's say he starts polling at 27%, and you are at neck and neck, where you have to look at your parties around you and go, are you going to allow a left-wing coalition of chaos under Zach Polanski, Ed Davey, Andy Burnham to govern, while Kemi Badenoch's sitting there with similar policies to you?
Look, Alex, as you know, after the general election in 2024, when I got back in against the trend in Romford, in my constituency, I spent 18 months arguing very publicly on your show.
You did, yes.
At every possible opportunity that there should be a coming together of the right. I pleaded with Kemi. I went to see her and I said, please, let's stop throwing mud at Nigel. Talk to him. Let's build up good relations. Let's align on policy. Let's try and build something. She didn't want to know. Robert Jenrick did. He would have been different. He would have handled this very differently. So, you know, the rest is history. It's a shame. But I think the British people understand that we can't carry on as we are. And I'm really worried about the future of our country. I've been an MP 25 years, and I'm looking at what's going on today, and I think, what future are we handing over to the next generation? We need a radical change. We need, as I said earlier, a Margaret Thatcher-style shift. So, yes, people will be upset with some of the things that a Reform UK government will do, but it's time to upset the apple cart. It's time to do things which will put the country in a better place for the long term. And frankly, Louise, you know, I've been a Conservative all my life, as you have. I just don't think the Conservatives in office, they never do what they say they're going to do. They let the country down every single time. The only person who's been consistent, the only person that stood strong and carried on saying the same things and it has got the potential to be Prime Minister is Nigel Farage.
Louise, let me come to you this on the Liberal Democrats, because I think they're actually, talking of, you know, sort of, I call this Kingmaker field, this by-election, because I think it was a little bit of that. I think they're going to play Kingmaker if the right don't unite. And they will demand a lot. I think they will demand electoral reform, which, you know, could be healthy for the country, and many people might argue for it, but it also could be quite damaging letting other radical groups get in. And I think they're going to demand a referendum on the EU. I've been saying this for a really long time. Burnham obviously wants it. It's very difficult to offer that when you're a big party, you know, governing party, to offer a referendum on the EU. The Lib Dems could demand it.
They could demand it, but don't be surprised if Andy Burnham just puts that to the people as one of his policies. If I were him, and let me just start by saying I am 100% Brexit and have been since I was a young Conservative at the age of 12. I couldn't stand the EU. So glad that we left. However, I also recognise the political reality here. And the political reality is that Andy Burnham needs badly to put some populist, clear red water between himself and the right. He needs to offer them something that the right is never going to offer, which is another referendum to go back into the EU over our dead bodies. But if I were Burnham, that's exactly what I'd do.
Do you think Burnham's going to be a populist lefty?
Well, what's interesting about Burnham is he is into politics, unlike Keir Starmer, some would say. And I've known Andy Burnham since he was a researcher in the Labour Party in the 90s, and he's been around the block. You know, he knows his politics. So he knows full well you can't win on a lurch to the left. You'll have to disappoint some of the Socialist campaign group supporters inside the Parliamentary Labour Party. And he knows that you win from the centre and the centre-left as a Labour government. He learned that from Tony Blair when he was serving in his government. So I think there'll be a bit for the left and a bit of the right, and there'll be a sort of triangulation around some of these things, particularly migration, I think. But then to the left, you might see a referendum on electoral reform to shore up the Lib Dems. So he's clever enough and political enough to work all of this through, and if he is the leader, then that's the sort of thing you'll see.
Right, let's talk about Keir Starmer's leaked document here, right? Get this, he's going to fight. According to this document, he's going to fight. If he does, it is civil war. Civil war for the Labour Party. This would be as damaging as it was for the Tories, which, again, you know, kicked them out of office, basically. It didn't matter who they elected. The public had gone, do you know what, you guys aren't, you're not serious. Some of this here, one of the first lines in this leaked document page I've got here, this is from Number 10, allegedly. Andy Burnham hasn't faced any real scrutiny yet. A true contest would expose him to questions that he hasn't ever been able to answer and likely see his support wane as a result. I think you could apply that to Keir Starmer, frankly. I really do. The trajectory for Andy Burnham hasn't been positive. Exposure in recent weeks has led to a decline in public support for Andy Burnham, across the board. His favourability has dropped 6 points since May. And they even put a graph, an Ipsos graph here, which shows his favourability ratings plummeting and his unfavourability ratings increasing. Which, by the way, when any party tells you they've got the most popular party leader, it's because nobody knows who they are. All politicians are unpopular. All right, let's get real. Keir Starmer give personal credit to the PM and rates Labour's time in office positively. 80% of the membership of Labour say he's done a good job in government. What country are they living in? What country are they living in? So this is the sort of stuff that's coming out of Number 10, right? Do you think Keir Starmer's got any chance of fighting Andy Burnham, or do you think he'll just bow out?
Absolutely not. I've got no time at all for Keir Starmer, literally none. He tried to put my constituent in prison for a joke for 2 years. So I really do not like the man, but he can do basic mathematics. And if somebody comes to him, his own spads and stuff, and say, Andy Burnham's got 200 votes, I think at that stage Keir Starmer will give up just because he won't want to go through the humiliation. If you know that you're going to lose mathematically, that's when he would quit. And then to me the interesting thing would be this idea for a timetable for his departure. More delays than HS2. He would try to hold on as long as he possibly could in order to prevent a general election and to enjoy the trappings of office. That's what I worry about.
Yeah, and just a bit of breaking into the Telegraph here tonight. The Telegraph are reporting that one Labour MP who's usually considered to be a loyalist to the Prime Minister said he believes Sir Keir will announce his departure date as soon as Monday, given that his support amongst MPs was now down to only a handful of friends and family. It's pretty bad when it's got that bad, isn't it?
Who is it?
Well, we don't know, just one Labour MP.
Great.
Could be anybody. We've been here before. We've been here before on this show where there were reputable journalists saying he's going to go this week.
Yes, of course.
Do you think he's got any chance left, Andrew?
So I think probably he will go, but I think he's probably going to try to make a fight of it. Look, he was elected, 20 months ago, nearly 2 years ago now. He got a huge majority for Labour. I have no time for him at all. I agree with Louise. I think he's a dreadful Prime Minister, and I think he should go as soon as possible. But I do think that probably within the Labour Party there are people that think he should stay. So bring it on. Let's have a civil war in the Labour Party. I'm looking forward to that.
You're going to blow up?
And let them destroy themselves. And then let's have an election. Let's have a reform UK government.
A contest is not a civil war if it's conducted properly. There are lots of people inside the Labour Party who feel it's been really hard done to.
Are you backing him?
I think he should fight. If there's a contest, I think he should put his case to the party. I don't think he should walk away. He's right to say that. And he might do. You know, I don't know. He's getting counsel from both sides over this weekend. It would be a shame, I think, if he did walk away, because I think he got us over the line of a general election. Not many Labour leaders have managed that.
Yeah,
so
but loveless, though, wasn't it? It's not quite like a Blair landslide, was it? It was loveless. It was the hate for the Tories that fuelled the victory.
The win is the win, right? I mean, you know, especially for Labour, who've been out of office so long.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, as I said, I think it would be great if there's a Labour leadership contest, because I think it will. I think the left will rip themselves apart. I think the right will look like a very cosy, sensible group for a change of recent months.
But you might get 4 candidates. I mean, Starmer's on the ballot automatically, don't forget. So others could get the 80, 90.
If he does go, we're talking about pretty much 7 prime ministers in the space of 10 years.
That's not good news, is it?
It's not good.
We're turning into Italy. Yes, we are. Right. Anyway, we've got to leave it there. So much. I'm sure this is going to dominate the headlines over the next week here on GB News, particularly as well. But in the meantime, time for a Great British giveaway: £76,543.21. Here's Hayley Sparks with all the details.
Hello from the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos, and it's the final week to see how you could win big in time for summer. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21, and that person really could be you. Imagine all of the fun you could have this year with that. You could treat the family, treat your friends, make it a super summer for everyone you know.
Or just enjoy a bit of me time, safe in the knowledge all those day-to-day financial stresses have been taken care of.
£76,543.21 in totally tax-free cash could be yours in time for summer. Just don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June. Good luck!
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, but before we move on, some breaking news for you now. The Prime Minister and Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood have released statements as counter-terrorism officers are now involved in investigations into a series of incidents in Edinburgh on Friday, which left 5 people injured. So Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said, absolutely appalling. No one should face violence on our streets. The suspect appears to be motivated by anti-Muslim hatred. I will not tolerate this. He will face the full force of the law. My thoughts are with those who are injured, and I thank the police and emergency services for their response. And Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, added, I am horrified by the news of an attack in Edinburgh. I'm grateful to the police and emergency services for their bravery in apprehending the suspect, who appears to be motivated by anti-Muslim hatred. There is no place for hatred and violence against Muslims. I know it is not who we are as a country. We're going to bring you more details here on GB News when we have them. Coming up, I'm going to have to reveal the astounding number of illegal migrants that will be moved into HMOs near you. It is a shocking number. Plus, a shocking exclusive story on a council paying a charity that helps migrants get their citizenship here in the UK. But before that, has Makerfield shown the start of dirty tricks used in the battle for the right of British politics? We'll talk about that next.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get us on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, this Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Alex Armstrong tonight. Hello, you two. We're back on air now. Sorry, we can have a little natter over there. But we're going to talk about this because Restore Britain secured more than 3,000 votes in Makerfield on Thursday. An impressive first by-election outing for Rupert Lowe's party, of course, but it raises serious questions about how this would play out in a general election. Would it cost Reform UK tens of seats across Britain?
There's a couple of thousand voters there
who would normally have gone out and voted reform that voted restore. And I would say directly to them, what do you want? We are the challenger party to the left in this country, and I would urge you to think again. I really, really would.
Rupert Lowe spoke to GB News at the count, disputing indeed claims that he is trying to split the vote.
Votes are for the public to cast, for those people they believe in. So nobody can split a vote. What you do is you have a roster of people standing and the public decide who they're going to vote for. Votes do not belong to anybody. They don't belong to Andy Burnham, they don't belong to me, they don't belong to Reform, they belong to nobody.
Yeah, and there were some ugly scenes on polling day as Reform accused Restore of dirty tricks as a Muslims for Reform van was spotted tailing the Reform battle bus in Makerfield. High-profile members of Restore Britain later fiercely rejected claims they were behind it. So, do you think we're going to see more of this up to the next general election, which I think is months away at this point? Joining me now, journalist and commentator David Shipley. David, thanks for coming in because I caught an eye on you wrote a piece on this for The Spectator.
Well, I was hoping to, but I think we might not in the end be able to run it because of issues around libel law and that sort of thing. But it was an odd day, wasn't it? Because on Thursday this van was sighted outside a polling station, and Reform were really angry about it. They were saying this is not us. I spoke to a number of key people within Reform, and they were furious, really insistent it wasn't them. They were talking about the fact they reported it to the police. They were very clear this was something they were angry about. And there were lots of rumours going on. There were some key Restore activists who were posting selfies next to it. This guy called Young Bob posted it, a picture of it, and I think Rupert Lowe at one point posted a picture of it.
It was deleted, yeah.
And then when people started to suggest there was no ident on this van and there might be some breaches of electoral law if someone was choosing to put this van out.
Yeah.
Suddenly a lot of tweets got deleted. I wasn't able to get hold of Rupert Lowe. I did briefly, very briefly, speak to Young Bob, and I explained to him I was writing an article about the bus, and he said he's sorry, not interested, and hung up on me.
Which is unusual, because Young Bob does go around the country offering people to debate on anything. So I think that might be slightly hypocritical of Young Bob there.
Well, I was disappointed. I just wanted to give him a chance to say his piece, really, but yeah, he didn't want to speak. And then people suggested a particular Restore activist who'd been active in the constituency during the campaign might have been behind the van.
Right.
And people were sort of posting stuff about it. So I actually finally spoke to this particular activist today, and he has been very active, and he's posted lots of other stuff he's done, but he was very clear. On that day, he drove to the constituency in his Discovery. He doesn't have a van. He was with two other guys. They were filming all the time. They were driving about. They do quite sort of, dramatic campaigning. They've been shot sort of, outside Reform's headquarters, shouting and chanting. But he was very, very, very clear it's not him. So I think there's a mystery there. As I understand from Reform, there has been a police report.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that van belongs to someone.
It does.
And if it was hired, it has been hired by someone. There will be a paper trail.
Yeah.
And whoever is behind that stunt, I think, is eventually going to get caught.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the Restore group were quite having a good laugh at Reform's expense with it. And I think the reason why this caught my eye is that, and I said this on X the other day, Restore's campaign is really anti-reform. That's kind of what they stand for, isn't it? They stand for anti-reform, and they seem to be more likely to go after the right than they do the left. And I think that raises questions as to what the British public want out of a debate in Britain. But of course, they're quite happy to. The Greens want to attack Labour and vice versa, but the left are far more willing to hold their nose. What's your gut tell you? Potentially just an activist who's gone taken a bit too far?
I mean, I don't think it was Reform, and I think you have to ask who would benefit from doing it. Yes. So I probably wouldn't go further than that. But I think it is, more broadly, the question is, as you said, do Restore want to be a serious national party of the right, or are they, the Great Yarmouth First extended universe, and acting out Rupert Lowe's anger at Nigel Farage? And that's what's unclear.
Well, we've got a Reform MP with us, which is quite handy. Andrew, you must have seen that. I'm sure you're up in Makerfield as well. Is there a concern that Restore is attacking Reform? We see Nigel Farage's video is very candid about them. He said, what do you want? Policies aren't too different. I think Restore probably go a bit further on some areas, but perhaps. What's your message to them?
Look, I got in politics because I love this country. And I just think everyone should stop and think about the implications of allowing a left-wing government and an even worse left-wing government, if it's going to be a mixture of Liberals, Labour, Greens and goodness knows who else, actually get control of this country. So any party on the right, supposedly, that is aiming to split the vote and to prevent reform from winning is basically doing something which is undermining the best interests of this country. Now, I think it's a shame. Rupert was elected as a Reform MP to begin with. And I would say to him that whatever has gone on and whatever's made him form restore is not doing the best for this country. It's not really going to help Britain. It's actually going to deliver potentially a victory to the Labour Party in some kind of left-wing progressive coalition. The right needs to come together, and frankly, we have to be realistic about this. Conservatives and Restore. There's only one person, that's Nigel Farage. There's only one party, that's Reform UK. Everyone should get behind Nigel, and we've got a chance of rescuing this country. If we don't do it, we're in one huge mess.
Louisa's shaking her head.
I am shaking my head. I think it's quite very likely that Nigel Farage will probably win and become Prime Minister. That is fine. But if they think that the Conservatives are going to go away quietly, they're wrong. And frankly, it's so weird hearing a Restore MP say this.
Reform,
when that is,
Reform
sorry,
MP.
I beg your pardon. Sorry. I actually think he might have picked the name Restore because it's so like Reform.
Yeah,
people are going to get confused. But for a Reform MP to say this when we have the enormous Labour landslide we have because Reform came in and split the vote from the Tories. When you don't unite and you split the right-wing vote, guess what? The Labour Party comes in. I'm not saying that we would have won the election, we wouldn't have, but the damage would have been a lot less.
Can I just make one point? I do have to make the point and remind you that in 2019, Nigel Farage withdrew all of his Brexit Party candidates against Conservative MPs to help Boris get that big majority in 2019. Nigel did that unilaterally with nothing in return as a patriotic duty to ensure that Boris was elected to get us out of the European Union, which you agreed with, and that's wonderful. So after that, the Conservative Party did nothing. The Conservative Party didn't reach out to Nigel and the old Brexit Party and bring everyone in and unite the right. They didn't do it. In fact, they pushed him away. Yeah. So, frankly, we can't go down this road. Conservatives then had all those years in power, 5 Prime Ministers in 14 years, left this country in one huge mess. Unsustainable immigration. All of these issues were not resolved. That's why we need a radical change.
Let me bring in.
I mean, it's ironic, I think, that Reform are now experiencing what they did to the Tories. There is a now party, an insurgent party to their right, harrying them and taking their vote. So, you know, you be careful what you wish for. To David's point about what's behind all this, I do get the sense that it is a personal spat between millionaires falling out with each other rather than a serious, you know, doctrinal schism on the right. It's egos fighting in a sack. And then the question of dirty tricks and dirty tactics, I mean, I'm afraid by-elections do often see this. I'm reminded of Peter Tatchell's election in Bermondsey in the early 80s, you know, dirty tricks all over the place. He wrote a very good book about it.
I just want to give, before we leave this, final thoughts to you, David. More of this to come?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I interviewed Rupert Lowe at the beginning of the campaign, and I think it's clear to me he is really, really animated by anger with Nigel Farage and with Reform more generally, with Zia Youssef. And I don't think he's going to give up. I think he's going to keep fighting, and that does mean we're going to get more of this.
Come back when you have some more great stories like this. If you get to the bottom of it, you know where I am. Give me a call. Restore Britain, of course, has fiercely rejected claims that they were behind the Muslims for Reform van in Makerfield. Campaigns Director Charlie Downs told LBC he doesn't know who was driving it or who paid for it. Coming up.
Areas like this can end up like HMO Britain. It's not fair.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more illegal migrants in HMOs near you. I'm going to reveal that astounding number, but before that, one last bit on Makerfield. How did social media win the election for Labour? That's coming up next.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
A lot of talk at the moment about extremely hot weather across many parts of Europe, especially central and western areas, with more than 40 Celsius expected, especially through parts of central and northern France. I think for Spain, similarly, high 30s, low 40s, but temperatures of 39 Celsius there for Paris, 42, 43 elsewhere for northern and central France. That's highly unusual. Italy also experiencing unusually high temperatures. That could spark a few thunderstorms.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, a good evening. This is your latest GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. Hope you've enjoyed the first half of the weekend. It is generally a calm end to the day and transition as we head into tomorrow. The cloud that we've had around across England and Wales today is generally going to break up this evening and overnight. A few more clear spells developing, but we'll probably still see some fog lingering around some English Channel coastal regions and a few showers just to watch out for across the far northwest of Scotland. For most in the southeast, it is going to be another muggy night to come. Temperatures not dropping much below 17 or 19 degrees Celsius, but something a touch fresher across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland. Some places may just dip down into single figures as we do start off Sunday morning. These showers in the far northwest will still be there first thing in the morning, but generally they will become fewer and further between as we head into the afternoon, and generally parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwestern England are likely to see some of the best sunshine throughout tomorrow. Perhaps more showers developing across northeastern England, and it's now here where we could see some low cloud around at times, maybe even some fog along some coastal regions of northeastern England. And again, the sunshine across parts of Wales, central southern England will be hazy tomorrow at times, so not wall-to-wall sunshine, but it will still be fairly bright and dry for the vast majority of us if you are wanting to head outside. Temperatures across Northern Ireland and Scotland generally similar to where we have been today, into the high teens or low 20s in places, quite pleasant. But towards the south we are starting to build in the heat and humidity, highs of 31 degrees Celsius in London. As we head into the new working week, it's probably a reversal of fortunes now, the cloud heading up towards more northern regions, a few showery outbreaks possible, and maybe even some showers and thunderstorms into the afternoon for parts of Wales and central England. But it's here where we have an amber extreme heat warning in place from Monday into Tuesday, with temperatures as we head throughout next week potentially climbing into the mid-30s at times. That is quite exceptional for June, with our highest temperature in June ever recorded of 35.6 degrees Celsius, so it's worth taking care as we head throughout next week.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Well, in this digital age, social media is proving crucial in the momentum of British political parties. According to a new data piece by Knox Digital, Nigel Farage is leading the way as the most effective politician on TikTok. But in the Makerfield by-election period, it was Restore Britain whose engagement surged by a huge 47%. Meanwhile, the so-called King of the North, Andy Burnham, ran the most active online operation, amassing close to 4 million views on the app during the month-long contest. And to tell us more is former digital advisor to the UK government, director of Knox Digital, Laura Rides. Laura, thank you very much for joining me this evening. Now, look, Restore had a very, very good digital campaign. How did it not translate out for a big sweeping victory for them if the digital was so strong?
Yeah, you're right. Rupert Lowe's Restore, look, their campaign was phenomenal, and they've seen an increase in engagement on TikTok of nearly 50% since the by-election was called. And that's in part because content on immigration performs 7 times better than content on equivalent local government issues. Now, their candidate only received 3,000 votes, but clearly there was a fragmentation on the right, and that's what Nigel Farage has referred to. However, I will add that in 2026, Nigel Farage remains the best performing MP on TikTok. And for Reform's battle against Labour, an average post from a Reform representative on TikTok performs 12 times better than an equivalent Labour Party post. So, yes, there were gains for Restore, but Reform still come out on top.
Laura, is there question marks then, with all these parties doing so well, Nigel Farage and Reform doing super well on digital? Andy Burnham managed to break through the noise. What's the story there?
Yeah, so Andy Burnham launched his TikTok account to coincide with announcing his candidacy in the Makerfield by-election. In the last month, he's posted over 100 videos, amassing over 4 million views. He campaigned on bread and butter issues with a mixture of rough and ready unfiltered content as well as high production quality content. And I will say there were parallels with New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani's campaign. Even some of the pop art that Andy Burnham used represented that we saw in New York. But to caveat, this was very much Andy Burnham's own digital campaign. The Labour Party official account didn't post any of original content with Andy Burnham, so it was his own digital race, and the Labour Party can't take credit for it.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating stuff. Come back and join us again soon. That's Laura Wright there, Director of Knox Digital, giving us some very interesting insights on the right and, of course, on the victor, Andy Burnham there. Joining me here in the studio is Senior Associate at More in Common, Robert Drake, dark indeed. Robert, let's talk about what's gone on with this polling, because we were hearing for weeks and weeks it's going to be neck and neck. Thankfully, I lost my money because I put a bet down. I was telling Paul this in the green room. I put a bet down of a 10% win for Andy Burnham, and I think I was pretty close. Close, but not enough. No cigar. Too far the other way to lose my money. Yeah. What happened?
It's very interesting hearing Laura talk there about the digital campaign of Andy Burnham, because actually what came through in our focus groups, and we did more than 9 focus groups in advance of the election in Makerfield, is the human side. It's people genuinely seeing Andy Burnham. The amount of stories of people who have met Andy Burnham, had a pint with Andy Burnham, they see him as a real human figure in the area. And it's why the stepping stone argument, I think, from Reform didn't quite land. People knew him. They also really had a sense that he'd achieved things in Greater Manchester. They mentioned the Beam network. They mentioned him standing up for the area around things like Hillsborough families, infected blood, and they felt he had a vision for the country in a way that they felt that Keir Starmer lacked. It's worth noting that they really were against Keir Starmer enormously, and this was an Andy Burnham vote carrying them through. On the Reform side, there's an element of a lot of people talking about the tactical voting. A lot of people from the Lib Dems, from the Greens, from the Conservatives, coming together in this anti-Reform coalition. It was interesting that even some Reform voters said that they would be voting for Andy Burnham as the most direct means of getting Keir Starmer out.
Interesting that, and I was saying this on X the other day, it seems to me the most powerful weapon in British politics right now is get Starmer out, and whoever wields it the most effectively is going to get a win. It's very interesting. I think it touches on something that's kind of been at the centre of British politics for at least 10 years now, which is the idea of change. And whoever can best represent that change seems to be who people are turning to, whether that's Brexit, Boris Johnson, Labour in 2024, the rise of Reform, even Andy Burnham, who is now a backbench MP for the incumbent government, is presenting himself as a change candidate. How will that play out for Reform then? Let's because they're the big challenges right now. Let's face it. Andy Burnham becomes Prime Minister. Do his fortunes change then when he's not the man standing in every single by-election, because there's not a 600 or so Andy Burnhams, is there? Let's face it.
No, it's interesting. So we've tested hypothetically kind of Andy Burnham as Prime Minister, voting intentions. Who would you vote for? And I should be clear before we go into this that hypotheticals are hypotheticals. Yes. Things tend to change dramatically. The last time we tested it, it brought Labour and Reform around level. So it wasn't a case of it's a huge increase from where Labour are currently, not enough to be a seismic majority. But like you say, how Andy Burnham can translate that human factor that's proved so effective at the local level to a national level is really the key question moving forward.
Louise, you had some thoughts on this?
Yes, I do. I think specifically in Makerfield, social media was absolutely key, but forgive me, it had nothing to do with the Labour Party. It was Elon Musk putting his support behind Rupert Lowe. He took him, and it is all Elon Musk, as far as I'm concerned. The man is a genius. He took him from 0 to 8%, which is a phenomenal result. It just absolutely is. And if if Reform aren't careful, they made a huge mistake in turning down a donation from Elon Musk. How much will that support help in the general election?
Yeah, very, very brief thoughts from you, Andrew, if you don't mind.
Look, I think social media has a big impact, but what really matters, and was said a moment ago, if you are known in your local community, you're seen as a real person, people vote for you, and I think that's why Burnham did so well. I think any other Labour candidate would have very easily lost to Reform UK.
You have 10 seconds.
Well, we had 3,000 people on the ground on polling day as well, doing the Get Out the Vote operation. Every house was knocked on at least 5 times. There was some old-school campaigning that got that vote out as well.
There you go. Robert, thank you very much for coming into the show. Really fascinating stuff there, particularly on that last bit, because we're talking about general elections now, and I think it's coming. Right, listen, after the break, I've got some breaking news to bring you. I'll discuss it here with my panel. See you shortly.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
But there's a huge amount of psychological evidence. There's lots of theories about when people make decisions and follow them with actions, their behaviour becomes consistent with the choice they made. So if you get married, you're more likely to see each other with rose-tinted spectacles, that kind of thing. The signal value of marriage is absolutely huge. I was talking to a young couple who are newly engaged just the other day, and they said it was amazing how it actually changed the way that they felt about their relationship. So it does provide extra security, and doing it in front of your friends makes a huge difference as well. It holds you to account. So there's a huge psychology behind the act of marriage. So it would be weird if there wasn't any effect at all. I found that your family background, so your age, your education, income, affects about half of your chance of staying together.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
The art world has lost its darling, probably the most respected, celebrated, influential artist of the 20th and 21st century. And as you say, career spanning 7 decades, whether you're looking at his portraits or his Californian swimming pools or his spectacular Yorkshire landscapes, he made art for the people. The art world can be a rather snobby place, which is unfortunate at times, but he made art for the people. If you think about the portraits, the people that he painted, whether it be Mr. and Mrs. Ossie Clark, the fashion designer, and Percy the cat, or Harry Styles, or a portrait of his carer.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, I'm going to try and explain what SpaceX is. It's set to become one of the most valuable companies in the world. But it's not just about rockets. Everyone will be aware. OK, well, it'd be really nice if Elon Musk could could help us out with our tech here, because I'm trying to draw a rocket, and we're not able to. What is going on? I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm afraid our very own. Let's see. No, we're not. I'll try and explain what's going on with SpaceX without any visual aids. How disappointing! It's 3 companies really. It's a rocket company, it's a communications company, and it's an AI company, all in one. It controls 84% of the commercial launch market in this country.
GB News, the People's Channel.
OK, welcome back here to GB News. We do have some breaking news to bring you in just a moment's time, of course. In the last few moments this evening, it has been confirmed that a woman has died attempting to cross the English Channel in a small boat. Just repeat that breaking news line there. In the last few moments, it has been confirmed that a woman has died attempting to cross the English Channel in a small boat. Kent Police have said the following. Kent police officers are conducting initial inquiries following the death of a woman on a small boat on Saturday the 20th of June 2026. Officers were called to Dover at 3:11 p.m. along with other emergency services where the woman was pronounced deceased. A UK government spokesperson said this afternoon Border Security Command Maritime responded to a small boat that had entered the UK waters. On intercepting this boat, a migrant was found to be unresponsive. Despite medical assistance, we are deeply saddened to confirm that they have since died. Our thoughts are with all of those affected. This latest tragedy underlines the terrible dangers of small boat crossings. We continue to work relentlessly with the French and other partners overseas to prevent these serious journeys. I'm back here with my panel. I guess, Paul, listen, tragedy, and we see so many of these deaths in the Channel now. It beggars belief to me that the government still are not getting even tougher on it. Because every time a migrant comes over the Channel, there's a risk of death. We've seen many this year already. And surely the immediate response from government should be we have to create a very strong deterrence to stop this.
Well, it makes me even more angry with the scumbags who are taking these huge bribes off people and putting them in harm's way on the Channel. When we say, you know, smash the gangs, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about those kingpins who are making millions off this human misery. I don't blame people wanting a better life, but I do blame the people exploiting their weakness. Is the government doing enough? No, it's not. Is it going in the right direction? It seems to start to be, because the number of returns is going up. Some of the crossings have been thwarted on the French side, but we need to do more, of course.
Andrew, your thoughts?
Well, it's horrible to hear of anyone dying in those circumstances, but they shouldn't be trying to attempt this journey in the first place. And we have to ensure that there is no incentive for people to illegally come into this country. I don't think the French are being helpful. I don't think they're really doing anything. We're paying all this money to them. What are they actually doing? The only solution is make it very clear. You come into this country illegally, you will be detained and you will be deported.
OK, look, we've got to leave it there. Sorry, Louise. Coming up, I'm going to be talking to you about HMOs. There's quite a lot coming near you. That's coming up very shortly.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, a good evening. This is your latest GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. Hope you've enjoyed the first half of the weekend. It is generally a calm end to the day and transition as we head into tomorrow. The cloud that we've had around across England and Wales today is generally going to break up this evening and overnight. A few more clear spells developing, but we'll probably still see some fog lingering around some English Channel coastal regions and a few showers just to watch out for across the far northwest of Scotland. For most in the southeast, it is going to be another muggy night to come. Temperatures not dropping much below 17 or 19 degrees Celsius, but something a touch fresher across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland. Some places may just dip down into single figures as we do start off Sunday morning. These showers in the far northwest will still be there first thing in the morning, but generally they will become fewer and further between as we head into the afternoon, and generally parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwestern England are likely to see some of the best sunshine throughout tomorrow. Perhaps more showers developing across northeastern England, and it's now here where we could see some low cloud around at times, maybe even some fog along some coastal regions of northeastern England. And again, the sunshine across parts of Wales, central southern England will be hazy tomorrow at times, so not wall-to-wall sunshine, but it will still be fairly bright and dry for the vast majority of us if you are wanting to head outside. Temperatures across Northern Ireland and Scotland generally similar to where we have been today, into the high teens or low 20s in places, quite pleasant. But towards the south we are starting to build in the heat and humidity, highs of 31 degrees Celsius in London. As we head into the new working week, it's probably a reversal of fortunes now, the cloud heading up towards more northern regions, a few showery outbreaks possible, and maybe even some showers and thunderstorms into the afternoon for parts of Wales and central England. But it's here where we have an amber extreme heat warning in place from Monday into Tuesday, with temperatures as we head throughout next week potentially climbing into the mid-30s at times. That is quite exceptional for June, with our highest temperature in June ever recorded of 35.6 degrees Celsius, so it's worth taking care as we head throughout next week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello from the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos, and it's the final week to see how you could win big in time for summer. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21. Just don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June.
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it? We're here again. To start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored. Very, very racy tonight. On the unpredictable. What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Good evening, it's 10 o'clock. I'm Alex Armstrong. Tonight, breaking news. Buckingham Palace has announced the King's total personal tax payment will be published for the first time in a historic first for any British monarch. We will bring you some more details on that. Also,
Two streets! Our streets! Two streets! Our streets!
Areas like this can end up like HMO Britain. It's not fair.
yes, HMO Britain, more illegal migrants will literally be on your streets. I'm going to reveal the astounding number that will be moved into HMOs, possibly near you, plus a shocking exclusive story. And
if there is a contest, just to be clear with you, then yes, I will run, I will stand, and I've said repeatedly, I'm not going to walk away from that.
mark my words, a general election is coming. It seems almost inevitable for so many reasons that Andy Burnham is going to put his manifesto to the people. Plus,
votes are for the public to cast, for those people they believe in. So nobody can split a vote.
are we going to see more dirty battles in future elections with more right-on-right shots being fired? Did Makerfield set the bar? And
the question now is not whether we do something, we are going to act. I'm absolutely clear.
That's the Prime Minister being tough on social media there as the under-16s ban is being worked on as we speak. A young man who runs one of the most influential X accounts, GB Politics, is going to be telling me how he's going to be impacted. And the front pages are dropping. Starmer is ready to resign, say his allies. That's on the front page of The Telegraph. It's going to get juicy tonight. We're going to get some of those details that I think you won't want to miss. And on tomorrow's Mail on Sunday, Kemi, why I will never do a deal with Farage. We've been talking about it here on the show the last hour. Will the right ever unite, or are we doomed to a left-wing government for the next 10 years. Joining me to talk about all of these great topics, former Conservative MP Louise Mensch, Reform UK MP for Romford Andrew Rosendale, and former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards. And it does seem a little bit like everyone's gone quackers for the World Cup. "10,000 more illegal migrants and asylum seekers are being moved into HMOs across Britain. 10,000 of them. And this exclusive story I'm going to reveal in just a moment's time is also going to make your blood boil. But back to HMO Britain for just a moment. These 10,000 unvetted illegals will be moved into houses next to you, your family members, children, grandparents, up and down the country, all paid for by you, with no security to protect your neighbourhood. While you fork out record high taxes and suffer under severe cost of living crises perpetuated by this government while it's all happening. There are now 68,719 asylum seekers living in houses, flats and bedsits in communities across this country. And it's going to get worse, as Shabana Mahmood has promised to shut all migrant hotels and move them to other sites such as disused military bases and indeed, eventually, HMOs, because that's where it gets worse, isn't it? And in a GB News exclusive, I can reveal that some councils are now forking out 50 grand of your cash to help fast-track illegal migrants' British citizenship applications. Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole Council has handed out that 50 grand to an to a charity called International Care Network. It's a charity that helps British citizenship applications, visa extensions and more. Well, the money is going to a contract for them with a charity that funds the so-called community hub for refugees and asylum seekers. And it's been well reported that Bournemouth locals are deeply unhappy at the number of migrant hotels in the seaside town, including 3 prominent ones on the seafront, no less. And let's not forget the shocking case of Mohammed Abdullah, a small boat migrant who is due to be sentenced after being found guilty of raping a 19-year-old woman in a portable toilet on the Bournemouth seafront in July 2025. The court heard that he preyed on the girl when she'd had a few drinks and been separated from her friends. Well, Bournemouth has seen a rise in antisocial behaviour and robbery, while reported instances of rape in the area have more than tripled the past decade, up 276% from 2014 levels. Surely, 50 grand of your money is better spent tackling those issues rather than funding schemes to secure illegal migrants' British citizenships. What do you think? So remember, your council tax goes up and your rent and mortgages increase, when the value of your house plummets and your neighbourhood seems less safe, when towns that used to be holiday destinations turn into crime hotspots, this is where your council's priorities lie. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Former Conservative MP Louise Mensch is here, Reform UK MP for Romford Andrew Rosendale, and former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards. Andrew, I'm going to start with you. Let's first of all talk about HMOs, and I want to talk about this 50 grand stuff because it's shocking to me. HMO Britain, it's now a phrase that Andy Burnham has coined, which I think surprised quite a lot of people because it's a feeling that many people share up and down the country. It's causing great community tensions. Is it the solution the British public want to the migrant crisis?
Absolutely not. So, in my constituency in Romford, we've had a number of HMOs going into residential areas, family communities, which have been ruined because people coming in, many of whom have no respect for the local community, crime increases, and the family-friendly atmosphere that people expect in small communities and neighbourhoods goes. And it simply is not acceptable. HMOs should not be happening in our neighbourhoods, and I am implacably opposed to them. And many MPs have got the same problem in their constituencies as well. We shouldn't be allowing them. A local council should be simply saying, no, we're not going to have HMOs in residential areas. Simple as that.
Louise, this, of course, started under the Conservative government. I think, to be fair to the Tories, you can't keep blaming them all the time for what's happened in the past. The past is the past. I think the party has changed. Kemi Badenoch is much tougher on this issue. Do you think HMOs are necessary? And do you think that Shabana Mahmood is making the right decision? I would argue she's the toughest Home Secretary we've had for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of rhetoric there, but HMOs, and I warned about this months ago when everyone was talking about hotels being the worst thing to happen. I said, HMOs are coming next. And that means you're going to be streets with illegal migrants living in them, perhaps next to you.
Well, I would say, look, Reform lost the last 4 by-elections disastrously, perhaps because they accepted the defection of Robert Jenrick, who boasted in the House of Commons about how many extra hotels and how many extra places he personally had secured for all these migrants and asylum seekers. There's plenty of blame to go around, but I think it's not helpful, really, to look at the past totally. We should go, we are where we are, where are we going to go from here? And I don't believe, I looked up that council because I almost couldn't believe the story. It's run by the Lib Dems. Don't vote for them. But why are we giving migrants and asylum seekers money to become British when they came here illegally in the first place? They're not the people that we want. And also, why are we paying to give them leisure activities? If it was up to me, I would have them picking up litter by the side of the road if they don't have a job for 8 hours a day to make actual work looking attractive. They should be giving to this country, not taking from it.
No, I absolutely concur with you. But, Paul, let's before we come on to this 50 grand, which I think is going to boil people's blood. I know it's a tiny amount of money, because we talk in the billions these days, don't we, because of inflation, but it's still a lot of money to many people when it comes to their council tax. HMOs, though, this could be Shabana Mahmood's legacy. This could, if she doesn't manage to deport illegal migrants, and we've seen, whilst the government talk up deportations, they're talking mostly about migrants that have come here and abused the visa system that they've deported. We know for recently, I think there was a report that only a few hundred actual illegal small boat migrants have been deported. HMOs are seriously concerning to people. Is Shabana Mahmood making a fatal error here?
The issue is, how do you choke off the supply, so you stop people coming here in the first place who shouldn't be here? How do you process them much faster so they're not hanging around for months or years? How do you accommodate them while they are here before they are either assimilated in society or they leave? And at each of those stages, you have to have a proper policy that works. Now, the hotels were a disaster.
We could all agree on that, by the way.
They cost a fortune, and it was entirely the wrong thing. So our policy was then putting people into these big, disused military camps, which again have created these flashpoints. So people don't like that either.
But is the problem with the military camps? First of all, I hate the idea. I've visited many of these places. Yeah. I've interviewed people living on the backs of some of these military bases. They are terrified and they are unhappy and they're and I don't blame them. Cannot blame the people who live there. One of the guys I interviewed has young daughters living on the back. They've got footage of illegal migrants wandering onto his property in the dead of night, and it's scary. But why are they not kept in the military base? We don't know who these people are. They are unvetted. There's enough evidence to spook the public into not wanting these people anywhere near them. And yet the Home Secretary hasn't said, no, keep them in the military bases, detain them in there. They're quite big. We can look after them while they're in there and then evaluate them.
I think the Home Office would say, if they were here, that creates an unbelievably combustible set of circumstances where you would have, deliberately fires being set and rioting and violence towards the people sent to guard them, and having people being released to go for a walk and so on allows some of that steam.
Well, maybe, Paul, we shouldn't have them in the country in the first place.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And it's quite interesting to see what this charity is actually doing, because if it's about faster processing, then that's probably money well spent.
Military bases, HMOs, hotels. None of it should be happening. These people shouldn't be in this country at all. Now, we had a policy of sending them to a third country, which the Labour Party jettisoned. We, the Conservatives, when I was a Conservative, I stood on that manifesto at the last election, but it didn't happen. Labour jettisoned the Rwanda policy on day one. Shameful. We could have actually done something with this problem, but the Labour Party let the country down. Well, they didn't smash the gangs. They didn't solve the problem. And now we're faced with a calamity.
Before you come back,
let's bring
Louise back in. Go on.
I don't think that we need to be framing this debate about how do we get migrants out and how do we do deportations. If it was up to me, and people may be surprised about this, I would take a leaf out of Donald Trump's book. The only thing required to secure our border is will. If it was up to me, I would have the Royal Navy patrol the channel.
I agree, yeah.
Instead of stopping the boats, I can think of a really easy way to stop the boats. You know, go down to Portsmouth, call the Royal Navy, put some small boats in the channel and patrol it.
Absolute garbage.
Australia had sovereign borders
Act. Yes, they did.
Tony Abbott dealt with it.
Yeah. The Navy will tell you that's an absolute nonsense. Look, we couldn't even stop a Russian firing on a British ship in the Channel the other week. I mean, there's an enormous expanse, the busiest shipping lane in the world, and you're talking about sending in the gunboats. Absolute nonsense. You have to choke off supply. I do support the idea of workfare, though, and I've said this on this show before, putting people in high-vis, out cleaning up graffiti, picking up litter, cleaning out canals. Absolutely a great idea. We should
Let's
just people are doing the work.
Nobody's talking about firing on dinghies here. What we're talking about is literally physically creating a barrier.
Reform candidates.
We had the Sovereign Borders Act in Australia. Tony dealt with this problem very effectively. Why can't we do the same?
We can.
Let's talk about this 50k. Right, this 50 grand the Bournemouth Council, I think Christchurch and Paul have decided to give to this charity, who's going to fast track. Now, you made an interesting statement a moment ago. You said, "Oh, it's good that they're being fast tracked." I think it's terrible they're being fired. That anyone who's broken into this country or abused the visa system illegally is going to get handed to them a fast track when legal migrants. Many highly skilled legal migrants we actually need in Britain go through some of the most rigorous checks possible. So you're telling them, your message to them, Labour's message is, right, or the Liberal Democrats in this case, whoever's running these councils, moronically, is let's fast-track applications for people who've broken into the country and give them special treatment. That's that's a massive incentive to.
But you can't have it both ways. Either people are hanging around for months causing trouble and going in HMOs, or they're being deported because they shouldn't be here or being allowed to stay if they should. But if it speeds up the process, and I don't know the details of this particular charity, I've no idea, but anything that speeds up the process and gets rid of the backlog is a good thing.
It's like British citizenship applications are it's like applying for a visa to go on holiday. Look, it's ridiculous. This is our country. This is citizenship for the greatest country in the world, and we're just handing it out on a piece of paper.
Yeah, look, why do these migrants choose to leave France, which is a perfectly safe European nation, and desperately try to cross the boats and floor? It's because our welfare system is more generous. It's because of things like 50,000 pounds.
That's well, I'm glad this organisation's come to light, because that's one organisation that won't get a penny from a Reform UK government.
And I think
we'll have more migrants coming, with more people hanging around in hotels.
They'll be sent straight out. They'll be detained and deported. Absolutely.
Mass deportations.
It's the only way, Paul. Do you want this country to survive, or do you want to carry on allowing mass immigration, legal immigration into our country?
And they said no.
No, we'll wait and see at the general election.
Let me ask you this, Paul. Andy Burnham has signalled the words HMO Britain. We don't want the country to turn into HMO Britain. What on earth is he going to do differently then? What's his answer? Mass deportations? Is he going to? It seems to me he is signalling that he's going to get tough. Let's face it. The EU just put forward the most radical changes, and has basically voted for Rwanda-style schemes to be able to go ahead legally, which will of course have to be challenged in the ECHR, but will probably get passed with the majority of the EU MEPs now voting for it. The country's behind. Shabana Mahmood's lagging now.
Well, it's interesting. The briefing over the weekend is that Shabana will stay in post as Home Secretary. Yeah. That's not a shift to the left, as we were talking about earlier.
She's going to get more right wing, isn't she?
She is a hard case in terms of immigration.
So what were you going to say if Andy Burnham says, "I want mass deportations of illegal migrants, I do not want any more HMOs, and we need to crack down on military bases"? Would you support that?
Well, I think the bases have to stay open, otherwise we're going to get back in the hotels, and we don't want the hotels in our town centres, do we? And that's one thing the public are really clear on. So, they have to go somewhere, before they're all rounded up and deported under reform, which I think sounds terrifying to me, frankly. How are you going to do that with...
I think it's more terrifying that they...
snarling dogs.
I'll put this to you, Louise.
Is it going to be like ICE in America?
You clearly don't speak to the British people. You clearly don't go out there and talk to ordinary people who are absolutely end of their tether with the failure of both governments to deal with this problem. And the only party that's got any serious... agenda to deal with this is reform.
Didn't vote for it, did they? They didn't vote for it.
If it was up to me, I'll tell you exactly where I would house them. I would house them in prison. If you come to this country illegally...
You know there aren't enough prison spaces
so then we
for
should,
actual prisoners, never mind migrants.
Fine, we house them in military bases, we garner military bases, and we build prisons and we build prison capacity. Coming to this country illegally is a crime. Now, if you are a real asylum seeker and you've come legally to this country, fine, there should be a different process. We need to get tougher on this. People are coming to this country because we treat them like gods.
But
and we give them money.
They need to be processed offshore.
Yes.
They don't come here. If they come here, they get sent out. It's all done somewhere else. That's what we were trying to do with Rwanda. That's what Labour Party stopped. 2 years later, the situations got even worse. So, frankly, you know, at the end of the day, the British people, I think, have lost patience, and a Reform UK government will tackle this.
It's fascinating to me that the European Union have just approved a bill, voted in a landslide, might I say, by at least over 100 MEPs, that they should be allowed to do offshore processing, which is basically where the British government was under Rishi Sunak, albeit very late in the day, but they had arrived at that conclusion. Do you think, Paul, Keir Starmer's first act of removing Rwanda is going to come back to bite the Labour Party? Because if the EU is moving in this direction, the lovey libertarians in the EU, the pro-migrant libertarians in the EU are now moving more right-wing than you guys are. Surely you're missing the public's call here, the call to action.
I think it makes a point, doesn't it, that this is not something uniquely being faced by the UK. And obviously we see it through that prism because we all live here. But it is the same problem is being faced all over Europe, and particularly those frontline states with the Mediterranean. And there has to be, I think, stronger borders and more action across the whole of the EU, which is what it was all about.
Yeah, and Louise, the continent is moving to the right.
Yes.
We're seeing this trend happen everywhere. Let's be honest, Andy Burnham's going to be Prime Minister, isn't he? I mean, the chances of him not being Prime Minister at this point are very low, right? I love a bit of drama, so if it doesn't happen, I will be kicking my heels together because I think it'll be fantastic to watch it all implode, as you all probably know watching at home. But even the left, Denmark, centre-left government, really, really tough on illegal migration. I think some of the words that have come out of the Prime Minister of Denmark's mouth would be shocking to left-wingers. However, that's where the European continent is moving.
I think it's where more or less everybody in the Western world is moving. Again, with President Trump, who I have opposed for a very long time, but I will give credit where credit is due. He showed a bit of resolve, and he secured his borders, and he was willing to deport criminals. Some of them weren't criminals, but most of them actually were criminals, to El Salvador. And the president of El Salvador, when he rounded up the gangs and put them in prison, guess what? Crime dropped. That's what happens when you take criminals off the streets. Yeah. And that is what we should be doing. That's what the Conservatives will do when Kemi is restored as Prime Minister.
Restored.
Restored, yes, I say restore because I think they're going to help spike reform.
Well, we've talked about that quite a lot, haven't we?
Kemi is sensible about this and she will bring in change.
And on Reform's position on this, Andrew? What would you do to what's your policy agenda on stopping HMO Britain, stopping the illegal migration crisis?
So we have to say no to HMOs, but of course it's down to each local council to decide what permissions are given, if it's a licence or planning permission. So clearly an HMO can be applied for, but we have a Reform UK council in my borough, and I hope they will say no to every HMO. Generally speaking, these are very bad news for local communities, but, you know, you need to stop the people coming in that shouldn't be here in the first place. And that's why we need to detain and deport. We need to go back to the third country option. Any processing should be done offshore. If we move to that, that will stop the flow and disincentivise people from coming over.
I remember in the ailing days of Rishi Sunak's government, before the general election, there were queues of migrants in Calais waiting to find out whether Keir Starmer had won, and then they would flood over. That was widely documented by journalists, photograph evidence as well, and because they were worried the Rwanda plan was going to go ahead. I think that says a lot to me. Right, on the story that 10,000 more asylum seekers are set to be moved into the streets across Britain, a Home Office spokesman said, "We do not recognise these figures. We are closing every asylum hotel and moving asylum seekers into basic accommodation, including ex-military sites. This is an important step in ending the perception you can arrive in the UK illegally and be put up in a hotel. We've already seen results. Number of asylum seekers as hotels has fallen by 35% in the last year and by 63% from the peak under the previous government. Overall asylum costs have already fallen by nearly £1 billion since this government was elected. And GB News has contacted Bournemouth, Christchurch and Paul Council and are yet to receive a comment. Time now for the Great British Giveaway. £76,543 and 21 pence. Hayley Sparks has got the details for us.
Hello from the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos, and it's the final week to see how you could win big in time for summer. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543 and 21 pence, and that person really could be you. Imagine all of the fun you could have this year with that. You could treat the family, treat your friends, make it a super summer for everyone you know. Or just enjoy a bit of me time, safe in the knowledge all those day-to-day financial stresses have been taken care of. £76,543 and 21 pence in totally tax-free cash could be yours in time for summer. Just don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June. Good luck!
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Come back. Hello, everybody. Coming up, tomorrow's papers are dropping. Keir Starmer's resignation call rumbles on, and the front page of The Sun. Jeremy Clarkson is in remission. That's great news, isn't it? But next, as the under-16 social media ban is being worked on, a young man who runs one of the most influential Politics X accounts is going to be here to tell me how he's been impacted. And he is in that bracket. We'll find out next here on GB News.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there.
with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the late edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christys tonight, late edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, late edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, earlier this week, you might have missed this because of all the drama going on, but the government announced a ban on under-16s accessing a range of social media platforms. Oh, and it's been well, there we go, we're back. And it's been received a very mixed reception. Now, if you spend much time online, there's a good chance you've encountered the GB Politics account, which delivers news and debate to nearly 100,000 followers on X, the Elon Musk's platform, of course, formerly Twitter. It was set up in late 2024 by Charlie Simpson, who is only 15 years old. But that means he's set to be banned from running his own account under these new plans. And I'm really thankful to say Charlie joins me now. Charlie, thanks for joining me tonight. Now, I've seen your account. It's gone from strength to strength. You're a young lad and you're doing exceptionally well. It's the sort of entrepreneurial thinking we need from young people. But Charlie, what was your reaction when you heard the social media ban?
I think it's absolutely ludicrous, and the government want to pretend that this ban is about protecting young people. We know that's not true. We know the Labour Party was complicit in the mass rape of young white British girls. If they really cared about the British people, the British young people, they would act on that. But instead, this social media ban is a way to silence young people, prevent young people from viewing news which they wouldn't see on the mainstream media. This is about control, not protection.
Yeah, Charlie, I mean, I'm sure the government could push back on your claims. I'm sure they'd say that they're doing everything they can.
Of course they will.
Yeah, of course, that's exactly what their position will be. On the social media ban, what sort of impact? I mean, you'll obviously, I guess, be banned from running your account. Is that right?
Yes, I would be banned from it. Of course, I would get around it because I would not let this government stop me from delivering news to all them people that rely on it.
Well, this is the question, isn't it, Charlie? Because I've actually put to a former government minister, former Tory government minister, who actually was, jubilantly celebrating the online safety bill. I asked her on air whether she could tell me what a VPN was, and she couldn't at the time. It was quite embarrassing. Do you think your generation understands technology better than these politicians do?
Absolutely. I've been with my friends today, and all they keep saying is about how they're going to be downloading VPNs to get past it. They've downloaded all of them. I won't name them for advertisement, but yes, they've already downloaded them. They're already ready to get past this ban, as we've seen in Australia. I think it's 6 out of 10 people in Australia have got past this.
Yeah.
As I say, this is just about passing more legislation to silence people online and prevent them from seeing the truth.
What sort of impact will this have on young people? Because many people will say that actually social media is a bad place for young kids. We see, I've had parents here whose children have died as a result of bullying, who have committed suicide. Very sadly, young kids of bullying due to social media. Images, young people sharing pornographic images of themselves, perhaps being used against them. Is there a case to say that actually social media is bad for young people?
Yes, there is a case there, but a case which I don't necessarily agree should be in the government's hands. I believe the parents should be the ones preventing young people from being on social media if they believe they're not fit to be. This decision should be in the parents' hands. The government should not be given the power to do this. So it's just nanny state bonkers. The government want to have more control over the British people. That's all they want to do. This is a typical communist government. This is what they like to do, control.
Charlie, what do you think the impact's going to have be on young people your age? You're 15. You're going to be the government talked up that you might be allowed to vote when you're 16. Do you think that would have any impact at all?
It absolutely will, because how do you expect young people to make their mind up on how to vote when the day before they go to cast their ballots, they've not been on social media, they've not seen what the politicians are saying, they've not looked into it. Instead, the government want everyone to be watching the BBC News. To make their mind up. As we know, the BBC promotes the Labour Party. This is all about promotion. But something I would like to say is I've spoken to someone who worked very closely to Andy Burnham on the campaign, a young person, and this might offer some good news for young people. Andy Burnham will not pursue this ban, I've been told. He got so much attention on TikTok. The young people do tend to like him, I will say that. He's got a thing to get through to the young people. So if Andy Burnham is Prime Minister come Monday, as we believe he will be, or a bit further away than that, he will not pursue this ban, I've been told.
Very interesting stuff. Well, should we have a listen to what Keir Starmer actually said about this as well? Let's just have a look.
My ears will bleed, but sure.
I fundamentally believe that we must harness the power of technology to build a stronger, fairer Britain. But we must also protect our children. And so I want this message to be heard loud and clear. I am not prepared to compromise on the safety and happiness of our children. And that is why this ban must happen, and that is why this ban will happen.
Hope you've managed to put some tissue in your ears to stop that bleeding there, Charlie. Yeah, what do you think? Prime Minister talking there. Is it because he's so unpopular on social media? I mean, I see his X account is a thing called ratioed, where the comments will get more likes than the statement. He's not very popular on TikTok either. Is that playing a role in this? Because he has got cross-party support. The Tories support this as well.
Well, the Tories aren't popular with young people, we know that. Neither is Keir Starmer. We see young people are now moving to the right. Obviously, as I've said, Andy Burnham does have support, but I would say about 50% do move to the likes of Reform UK, Restore Britain, all that lot. They do support people like Nigel Farage, who is a charismatic person who is cutting through to young people. We know that. He's doing this just to basically try and harvest votes and use the BBC to indoctrinate, because young people won't be able to make their mind up. I mean, I think it's 25% of GB Politics' followers are under 18. Now, of course, they'll be younger than that because they have to say they are. But that's 25% of the 100,000 people. That's 25,000 people who follow my media account, who are listening to our news, which doesn't follow the government narrative. And this is what annoys them. And also, wouldn't Keir Starmer love if I wasn't on social media?
Oh, I'm sure he'd like it if a lot of us went on social media, Charlie. Listen, I applaud your incredible work you've done to build your social media account up, and maybe there is some hope. Maybe Andy Burnham will even win the young people's votes by repealing the ban. I think a bit like Trump promised with TikTok in America, perhaps. But there we go.
Everyone
Charlie
loves
Simpson.
Trump.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. He's very popular, particularly on social media, isn't he? Charlie Simpson running the GB News, the GB Politics account there. One day. Charlie, love your enthusiasm, mate. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and good luck to you. Coming up here on the show... Yeah, everyone's got a bit quackers, haven't they? Do you like that? I wrote that one myself. Yeah, obviously, commiserations to Scotland last night. I'm sure we'll be digging into some of that in the front pages. Loads to come. Starmer is still clinging on, but is he going to resign on Monday? Rumours speculating, lots of speculation about it, rumours circulating. We're going to get into that on the front pages. This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News, of course.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
A lot of talk at the moment about extremely hot weather across many parts of Europe, especially central and western areas, with more than 40 Celsius expected, especially through parts of central and northern France. I think for Spain, similarly, high 30s, low 40s, but temperatures of 39 Celsius there for Paris, 42, 43 elsewhere for northern and central France. That's highly unusual. Italy also experiencing unusually high temperatures. That could spark a few thunderstorms.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, a good evening. This is your latest GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. Hope you've enjoyed the first half of the weekend. It is generally a calm end to the day and transition as we head into tomorrow. The cloud that we've had around across England and Wales today is generally going to break up this evening and overnight. A few more clear spells developing, but we'll probably still see some fog lingering around some English Channel coastal regions and a few showers just to watch out for across the far northwest of Scotland. For most in the southeast, it is going to be another muggy night to come. Temperatures not dropping much below 17 or 19 degrees Celsius, but something a touch fresher across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland. Some places may just dip down into single figures as we do start off Sunday morning. These showers in the far northwest will still be there first thing in the morning, but generally they will become fewer and further between as we head into the afternoon, and generally parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwestern England are likely to see some of the best sunshine throughout tomorrow. Perhaps more showers developing across northeastern England, and it's now here where we could see some low cloud around at times, maybe even some fog along some coastal regions of northeastern England. And again, the sunshine across parts of Wales, central southern England will be hazy tomorrow at times, so not wall-to-wall sunshine, but it will still be fairly bright and dry for the vast majority of us if you are wanting to head outside. Temperatures across Northern Ireland and Scotland generally similar to where we have been today, into the high teens or low 20s in places, quite pleasant. But towards the south we are starting to build in the heat and humidity, highs of 31 degrees Celsius in London. As we head into the new working week, it's probably a reversal of fortunes now, the cloud heading up towards more northern regions, a few showery outbreaks possible, and maybe even some showers and thunderstorms into the afternoon for parts of Wales and central England. But it's here where we have an amber extreme heat warning in place from Monday into Tuesday, with temperatures as we head throughout next week potentially climbing into the mid-30s at times. That is quite exceptional for June, with our highest temperature in June ever recorded of 35.6 degrees Celsius, so it's worth taking care as we head throughout next week.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches,
From football to tennis in the car,
in the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there.
with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast,
Every morning from 6 a.m.
only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back. Some breaking news before the front pages. Buckingham Palace has announced the King's total personal tax payment will be published for the first time, an historic first for a British monarch. The decision is understood to be His Majesty's express wish, as calls for further transparency into royal finances continue to grow. The announcement comes after an uncomfortable few years for the royal family, whose private financial arrangements have been widely scrutinised. A palace spokesperson has told GB News, in order constantly to improve and to encourage wider understanding of our accountability, the royal household has been considering options to enhance this transparency still further, and can today announce additional measures in keeping with our public service priorities. To put it simply, we continue to modernise and evolve. Our aim is to explain all elements of royal finances in a way that further enhances clarity and accessibility, while also placing it within historical and constitutional context. This revelation is expected to be released on this coming Friday. Big stuff, that is. Huge moment for the royal family. And more breakers on the front page of The Telegraph here. Starmer is ready to resign, say key allies. I think perhaps this is it. I said this a few weeks ago, so take me for my word. We'll wait. Observer, they think it's all over. Starmer expected to resign tomorrow. Right, so this is Sunday's front pages. That means Monday. And a slight change of tune here. Mail, Kemi, while I will never do a deal with Farage, I think she's really making a mistake there. That may come back to bite Kemi. The Mirror, King to release tax returns. Yep, I think that is a historic move, indeed. So lots to get into tonight, isn't there? Shall we look? Let's go to the royals in a second, because I think the bigger news of the night is what we've been waiting to hear from Starmer's key allies. And I was sitting here on a Sunday night 6 weeks ago telling everyone at home that Starmer's going to go. Now, there were really reputable journalists saying this is it. He's gone. Really top journalists from across the country. So the rumours, when you hear it from those top people, you tend to hear they have spoken to cabinet ministers. And we had quotes from cabinet ministers. They were deeply unhappy. That led to the resignation of Wes Streeting and so many others. This was all over the Mandelson files. He survived. He survived, Andrew. And this might be the theme of Sir Keir Starmer, is that he does keep fighting on despite how unpopular he is, despite how his own party seemingly despise him, even his own cabinet ministers want him gone, he fights on. Do you think he's going to fight this?
Well, he's saying he is, isn't he? He's saying he's going to fight on, he's not going to give up. But he's also very well known for U-turns. So maybe he realises his position is becoming untenable. And if that is the case, I think he could well decide to go. However, if he does that, I think the country needs to endorse any new Prime Minister who's not been elected under the mandate of the current Prime Minister. So we need a general election.
Yeah.
So, you know, if there is a change, whether it's Burnham or someone else, I would want to see a general election immediately. And I actually think a general election would not give Labour the result they think it will give them.
Interesting. Yeah, we've been speaking about that a lot tonight, whether there's going to be a snap general election under a more popular Andy Burnham. Maybe they go up to... We had Polster on earlier on tonight. If you're just joining us, he said it would put Reform and Labour neck and neck. Is that enough? Is that enough for Labour to call a general election? Louise, your party, the Conservative Party, has been here, been there, done that, got the T-shirt. What would your advice to Labour be tonight?
Gosh, my advice to Labour, I don't know. I suppose if I were Andy Burnham, he is obviously going to get crowned. There's not going to be a contest. I believe this is true. The Observer is the Labour paper. I would probably go to the country because it's certainly not going to get any better for Labour. They are a bad government. And even if Andy Burnham is charismatic, which he is, he will not be able to get away from the facts, what Rachel Reeves has done to the economy. The longer he's in, the less of that honeymoon effect he's going to get.
Yes.
So just from his own point of view, I would call a general election. But I do agree with Andrew that we, the rest of this country, has the right to vote on essentially an entirely new manifesto because Andy Burnham was clear he's going to rip up the manifesto that Labour were elected on.
But Sunak didn't do it. Liz Truss didn't do it. Are they going to say, well, you lot can't be hypocrites?
But they were elected as MPs.
They were elected as MPs.
On the same manifesto.
Well, that's true. That's true. But Sunak sort of ripped it up a little bit. You can argue Liz Truss totally ripped it up. She completely changed the economic agenda.
Disaster. But look what happened to them. Look what happened to them. When they did not go to the country, they didn't have any legitimacy and people got incredibly involved.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Paul, Starmer going to cling on?
I'm sorry to rain on the parade here, but if you read into the story, it's one anonymous MP claiming to be an ally, plenty of those, saying he may or may not be gone. And reading further down the story, someone else says, oh, it'll be the end of the week. I think we're back to where we've been on many Saturday and Sunday nights.
Yeah. No, I'm being very sceptical about this story.
It's tomorrow, and we've been having this conversation for 7 weeks.
No, we have.
So he may go tomorrow, who knows? But this
it won't be tomorrow, it will be Monday. This is tomorrow's front page, so let's just...
This story is built on sand, though, and it's not authoritative. You know, if this was 5 cabinet ministers all briefing, we're resigning on Monday, and you know, and it isn't. It is an anonymous backbench Labour MP.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting that both the Observer and the Telegraph... I don't think the Observer ran with this before. I think it was just the Telegraph previously who was saying that 2 cabinet members have said that they're telling the Prime Minister he's got to go. It looks like that herd moving was happening 7 weeks ago. And that's why we were all so convinced it was going to happen that week. What we did see was then a very convoluted, drawn-out version of it. Now, just to give you a little bit of background, we dug into that story after it had been sort of digested over the weeks. It seems that Keir Starmer dug in because he didn't like the fact his cabinet members, which we're allegedly told was Shabana Mahmood, Ed Miliband, potentially a couple of others, had briefed the papers that they had told the Prime Minister to leave. And that made him very angry, and he decided to stay and fight, which you might argue was the right decision because he hung on. But now there's a serious contender. There's a serious contender. He's won a landslide victory up in Makerfield. He is marching on Westminster. He's probably calling up all of his competitors, going, hey, Wes, would you like to be Chancellor? That will help the markets. Hey, Ed, look, we can't probably keep you in energy because I've got to get rid of net zero. How would you like to be Foreign Secretary? Oh, hello, Louise. Hey, you've been great. Would you like to come back as Transport Secretary? He's going to be doing the rounds.
Look, it's the same old Labour Party. They're still socialists. They're still following policies that are ruining this country. You know, it may be a different person, but it's exactly the same thing, and we had to tolerate the last 2 years that is driving our country down. We need a general election and a change of government, and I think that if Labour do have a general election, the British people will give a verdict on this dreadful government, and it won't be what they are hoping for. I think Reform UK is the only answer to rescue Britain from the calamity of what we've seen under Keir Starmer.
Very brief comments from you, Louise.
Sorry, I think Kemi is the only grown-up, sensible leader who has got plans that are very similar to reforms, but hers are thought through and well done. There is a reason that Reform have lost the last 4 parliamentary seats, 2 of which they were supposed to be the favourite in.
Well, we're going to talk about Kemi very shortly because she's saying she will not do a deal with Reform UK. What do you make of that? Next, Sunday Times is also saying Rachel Reeves is to lose her job if Burnham becomes Prime Minister. Surprise, surprise. That'll come up next.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
You're a stripper for nearly 20 years now.
Yeah.
And what you do now has changed. How has it changed and why?
I think beforehand they would book you individually. There would be a lot of stripograms, and that would be bookings for like birthdays, hen parties, and ultimately you would probably be around their house or something like that, or in a small bar. What it's kind of moved into now is more shows. Dream Boys, it's really popular. It's up and down the country, and what you'll find is they'll get 20, 30 girls together and they'll go out and they'll go to the show because they've got the drag queen, they've got the dancers, they've got the stripper, they've got the whole night's entertainment.
Is that because they feel uncomfortable with the stripper, or is it a woke thing? Is it they're concerned about objectifying you because they don't objectify themselves, so why should you be objectified?
I think it could be possibly a bit about... some of them might think if we get them around the house, there might be a person that's uncomfortable with it. Whereas if they book the show, you're free to go to the show or not.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Princess Anne and the way that she has brought up her family is really interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, you've got daughter and son who've not taken on royal titles, who've just got on with their lives.
I think now, in retrospect, we can say it was an inspired decision of the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, not to have her husband receive a grand peerage title, which meant, of course, that her children would just be plain Mr. and Mrs. Zara is Mrs. Tyndall, he is Mr. Phillips, and that's allowed them actually to have a much more normal life, not being in the necessary glare that attaches when you have the HRH prefix to your name and become a duke or a duchess or whatever. And yes, they have had great lives in the private sector.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Dorothea served in preparation for D-Day. And Dorothea, how does it feel being here today, joining other veterans?
We suddenly felt that it had been worthwhile giving up our youth, our years as teenagers. No such things existed. You were a child until you were 14 or 16, depending on the year. And after that, OK, you're fit to be killed for the country. And it was naturally assumed that everybody would willingly do their bit for England. And they would have.
GB News, the People's Channel.
All right, should we get some more front pages for you? The Sunday Times. Rachel Reeves is going to lose her job if Burnham... Well, it's if. I mean, it's basically when at this point, isn't it? But, yeah, I guess they're being sensible. If Burnham becomes PM. The Sun, some good news here. Some good news here. Clarkson, I'm in remission. I was bringing that to you on breakfast the other day. Really shocking stuff. Well, I think the country was really... I mean, he's such a loved figure, isn't he? Particularly what he's been doing on his show, his Clarkson's Farm, has just been spectacular for the country. But there we go. That's really good news. Look, I think we should just talk about the royals briefly, shall we? Because, again, we've heard tonight that the King is going to do something no monarch has ever done before and release his tax returns to the country. This is unprecedented. Of course, William, Prince of Wales, has already done this. He's saying he's going to do the same now, the King. Good move, Andrew?
It's a matter for His Majesty. If that's what he chooses to do, that's entirely down to him. I personally think the royal family are in a different category and they should be treated differently. They're there for the service of the nation. The jobs that they have are not, they don't apply for these jobs.
Yeah.
And the properties they own and the money accrued through the Crown Estates and the other income that the royal family receive, that money is ploughed back into the running of the royal family. They pay a lot of tax to government, which supports the United Kingdom. I just don't think you can ever look at the royal family and treat them like normal working people. That never will be the case in a constitutional monarchy.
Yeah, is it removing some of the mystique? Are we normalising them too much? Now, we've, of course, the cancer stuff really normalised them. Are we taking them away from these sort of godly figures to becoming just normal people? Is that dangerous, Louise?
I don't think so, and I think the King is acting incredibly sensibly after what's just happened with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, and after all of the financial shenanigans going on around him and around his role. The King is absolutely determined to save the monarchy. He knows what the public wants. They want transparency. Now, I agree with Andrew that the royal family are an incredible asset to this country, and frankly, as a dual citizen of the United States and the United Kingdom, whatever we're paying His Majesty, it isn't enough. He put Keir Starmer's mess right with Donald Trump in a way that literally cannot be overstated.
It's his finest hour. 100%
Amazing.
agree with you.
Amazing.
I thought the King was absolutely... Not and that everyone loves the King, but I think, and I can understand there's people who've got political preferences about the King that they don't like, and I think you can agree and disagree on that. However, that was an incredible moment for our country.
It was an incredible
superbly
moment.
well.
And I will say that after Donald Trump was out of office the first time, when he wrote to the King always wrote back in a very friendly way. The King understood that he may be elected again, and he's very personal and affable. At this point, he's a national security asset. And whatever he's getting, I think we should double it.
Paul, your thoughts?
Well, there's a guy called Badgett who wrote about the Constitution, and he said you shouldn't allow the daylight to spoil the magic of monarchy. But I completely disagree with that. I think in the modern world, you do need that level of scrutiny, and I would actually make them like a quasi-department of state and have their monies scrutinised by Parliament so that we and our representatives can actually see where the money comes from, where it gets spent. And this is a good step forward.
I think Parliament and royals getting involved has never been good in the history of Britain. So I don't...
that was settled though, wasn't it, in the 60s?
Well, yeah, a lot of blood and a lot of beheadings.
So Parliament is supreme over the monarchy.
Well, that's right.
And that is right. The only true royal tradition is evolution and change. If you look at their history over 1,000 years, the way they've adapted in each era is by changing. So this is very much in tune with that.
Final thoughts to you, Louise?
I would absolutely not put the royal finances in front of politicians. That is inviting politics into the ultimate apolitical organisation that leads this country without regard to politics.
Right, you're leaving us shortly, but you two gentlemen, we've got loads more to talk about. Loads more on the front pages. Do you think Keir Starmer is going to resign on Monday? Place your bets. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. This is your latest GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. Hope you've enjoyed the first half of the weekend. It is generally a calm end to the day and transition as we head into tomorrow. The cloud that we've had around across England and Wales today is generally going to break up this evening and overnight. A few more clear spells developing, but we'll probably still see some fog lingering around some English Channel coastal regions and a few showers just to watch out for across the far northwest of Scotland. For most in the southeast, it is going to be another muggy night to come. Temperatures not dropping much below 17 or 19 degrees Celsius, but something a touch fresher across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland. Some places may just dip down into single figures as we do start off Sunday morning. These showers in the far northwest will still be there first thing in the morning, but generally they will become fewer and further between as we head into the afternoon, and generally parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwestern England are likely to see some of the best sunshine throughout tomorrow. Perhaps more showers developing across northeastern England, and it's now here where we could see some low cloud around at times, maybe even some fog along some coastal regions of northeastern England. And again, the sunshine across parts of Wales, central southern England will be hazy tomorrow at times, so not wall-to-wall sunshine, but it will still be fairly bright and dry for the vast majority of us if you are wanting to head outside. Temperatures across Northern Ireland and Scotland generally similar to where we have been today, into the high teens or low 20s in places, quite pleasant. But towards the south, we are starting to build in the heat and humidity, highs of 31 degrees Celsius in London. As we head into the new working week, it's probably a reversal of fortunes now. The cloud heading up towards more northern regions, a few showery outbreaks possible, and maybe even some showers and thunderstorms into the afternoon for parts of Wales and central England. But it's here where we have an amber extreme heat warning in place from Monday into Tuesday, with temperatures as we head throughout next week potentially climbing into the mid-30s at times. That is quite exceptional for June, with our highest temperature in June ever recorded of 35.6 degrees Celsius. So it's worth taking care as we head throughout next week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, the front page is another bloodbath for Keir Starmer. He is expected now, the Prime Minister is expected to resign on Monday. That is leading two national newspapers. In the Mail, though, Kemi Badenoch saying she will never, in red letters, ever do a deal with Nigel Farage. Is that really the right message after Makerfield? And of course, the King is set to release his tax returns in a historic first. So much to talk about. See you in tech.
Hello from the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos, and it's the final week to see how you could win big in time for summer. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21. Just don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June.
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines closed.